All right, let's jump right in. We have, well, a truly massive number to kick us off today. For the very first time ever, the South Korean stock market has actually broken past 3,000 trillion won in total market capitalization. Just, I mean, think about that scale for a second.
It really is unprecedented, a
Mhm.
huge milestone. And today, we're going to really dig into what that actually means. Why now? And what are the experts saying about what might be next for the Korean market? We're pulling this straight from a recent news piece that lays out the details.
Exactly. And this is, I think, crucial insight for anyone trying to get a handle on these big global economic shifts.
Hmm.
Understanding what's really driving market performance beyond just the headlines. So, yeah, let's unpack it.
Okay, so the specific date was July 10th, 2025. The total market cap hit, get this, 3,020.77 trillion won, approximately.
Hmm.
And yeah, like you said, that's an all-time first, a truly historic high.
That total is just staggering. How does that actually break down across KOSPI, KOSDAQ, Konex? There's the main ones, right?
That's right. And, well, no surprise, really. The lion's share belongs to KOSPI. That's the
Right.
main index, the big companies. It accounted for roughly 2,603.74 trillion, one of that total.
Wow. Okay, so the vast majority.
Yeah. Then you have KOSDAQ, which is more, tech and growth focused.
Yeah.
That came in around 413.86 trillion won. And the much smaller Konex market added about 3.17 trillion won. So KOSPI really is the anchor.
It certainly seems that way. And speaking of KOSPI, its own performance on that day, July 10th, that was pretty notable too, wasn't it?
Absolutely. The index itself closed at 3183.23. That was a jump of 1.58%, almost 50 points in one day. And what's really interesting is that was his fourth day in a row of gains. Shows real momentum.
4 straight days. Yeah, that suggests some serious buying pressure. How does that closing number stack up historically for KOSPI?
It's significant. It's actually its highest close in about 3 years and 10 months. You have to go back to September 7th, 2021 to find a slightly higher close. That was 3187.42. Oh, and Kiyosaki was up too, by the way. Closed at 797.70, up nearly 1%.
Okay, so record numbers, strong momentum, multi-year highs. The big question then is why? What's actually fueling this surge right now? What are the drivers?
Well, one of the main things analysts are pointing to is exactly that the sustained momentum, KOSPI specifically, had 4 straight months of gains leading up to this,
Yeah.
from April through July. So it's not just a sudden spike. It feels like something more fundamental might be shifting. Maybe, confidence in the Korean economy.
4 months straight, that's quite a trend. And the journey of KOSPI's market cap itself this year, it really underlines how fast this has happened, doesn't it?
It really does. It's been incredibly quick. Think about it. End of last year, the KSPI market cap was around 1,963 trillion won. It broke 2,000 trillion early this year. Then it passed 2,500 trillion just by the end of last month. And then boom, on July 10th, it shot past 2,600 trillion. That's a remarkable pace.
That is rapid acceleration. Is this all just rising stock prices, or is there maybe something else going on, like more shares available?
That's a good point. And yeah, looking at the bigger picture, it's partly that too. There's been an increase in the total number of listed shares.
Mm.
On July 10th, there were about 120.48 billion shares listed domestically. That's up from around 119.35 billion at the end of last year. So yeah, new listings, maybe companies issuing more stock, that contributes to the overall market cap expansion too. Suggests a pretty vibrant corporate scene.
Right. So momentum plus more shares available. But, what everyone really wants to know is what happens next? Where does the market go from here? What are the experts saying? Is it all sunshine or are there concerns?
Well, there is definitely some talk about a short-term level burden. That's the jargon for basically worrying it's gone up too fast. Maybe it's due for a breather, correction. But having said that, the overall feeling from the brokerage firms seems pretty optimistic. Many are predicting it could go higher still.
Okay, so optimism is outweighing the caution for now. What's behind that bullish view? Have they actually put numbers on it?
They have, yeah. Some investment firms have actually revised their forecasts upwards quite significantly. IBK Investment Securities, for example, they bumped their year-end KGO SPI target up from 3,100 to 3,400. That's a pretty big jump. And Korea Investment Securities, they adjusted their expected range for the second half. Used to be 2,600, 3,150. Yeah. Now it's 2,900, 3,550.
Those are definitely bullish ranges. So despite the rapid rise, they see more room to run. Interesting.
Exactly. It seems the underlying factors and maybe the potential for future changes are giving them confidence.
And speaking of potential changes, I heard there's an interesting comparison being made surprisingly with the Tokyo market. How does that fit in?
Yes, that's right. An analyst, Lee Soo-jong from Merit Securities, pointed this out. She drew a parallel to what happened with the Tokyo Stock Exchange back in March 2023. Essentially, the exchange really pushed listed companies hard on improving corporate governance, things like, giving more back to shareholders. And that attracted a lot of foreign investment, which helped push their market to new highs in 2024.
Ah, I see. So the thinking is maybe Korea could see a similar boost if it adopts similar kinds of reforms.
Precisely. The idea is that Korea's next leg up could be fueled by these kinds of capital market revitalization measures, making the market more attractive, essentially.
What kind of specific measures are we talking about? What needs to change?
Well, the article mentioned several possibilities, things like mandatory cumulative voting, making it easier for shareholders to elect board members, also expanding the separate election of audit committee members, mandatory cancellation of treasury stock, meaning companies can't just sit on repurchased shares indefinitely, plus changes to the tender offer system for M&A, and potentially separate taxation for dividend income.
Okay, so those are quite technical, but the theme seems to be more power to shareholders, better governance, more transparency.
That's basically it, yeah. It's all geared towards improving shareholder returns, making companies more accountable, and ultimately making the Korean market, more appealing to global investors, a push for better governance overall.
Got it. So pulling this all together then, this record-breaking 3,000 trillion won mark, it's not just a random number. It reflects strong recent performance, sure, driven by that momentum and more listed shares, but it also reflects this forward-looking optimism, this potential that experts see, especially if these kinds of strategic reforms are put in place.
That's a good summary. It's a snapshot of a market that's performing well now, but also one that might be on the cusp of perhaps unlocking even more value if certain changes happen.
So as you're thinking about all this, here's something to chew on. What kind of deeper shifts, maybe within Korean corporate culture itself, might really need to happen for these proposed reforms to truly work, to unlock that long-term potential beyond just a short-term market bump? How could these changes genuinely redefine the relationship between companies and their shareholders? And what could that mean for you just watching these global economic currents shift? Something to think about.